Toronto, one of the most expensive cities in North America.
So a detached home in Toronto right now, the average cost is about $1.2 million.
Hey there, I'm Tim Bonsley. I'm 21 years old and I live in Toronto, Ontario.
How much do you think you have to earn a year in order to quote-unquote thrive in Toronto?
Claudia Shaka, I'm 21 and I live in Toronto, Ontario.
$80,000 a year.
Hey, my name's Liz Cruz and I'm 23 and I live in Toronto, Canada.
I don't know. I'd say maybe 60,000.
Hi, I'm Chantal McGuire and I live in Toronto.
I think anywhere from 70,000 and up.
You're pretty much bang on. It's between like 75 to 80,000.
Jared Walsh. I'm 22 years old and I'm born and raised Toronto, Ontario.
Hi, I'm Nadia Fuda. I'm 21 years old.
I live in Toronto, Ontario.
So the making of this documentary, you might be wondering, and a lot of people did ask me, what is the big deal? I mean, you're just interviewing you and your friends. You're just, it might sound superficial, it might look superficial. In making this documentary, my teachers in university, they asked me, and they were a little perplexed, not gonna lie, as to why this is important, as to why this is even a topic, right? One of my teachers even said to me, which, everyone has their opinion, but said, this pisses me off since I haven't had this lifestyle, since I've never seen this lifestyle, since I've never experienced it. So I don't wanna really look at it. It looks, kind of like tacky and unprofessional, so forth and so on. And that's the point. My life, our life, is getting and receiving a reaction from a stranger. Whether it's a positive reaction, whether it's a negative reaction. But the biggest point is just search on Google, on Instagram, on blogs, on a quick YouTube search, and you're gonna find millions of subscribers, of viewers, of thousands of videos, thousands of people having different reactions to this rich kids of Instagram trend. You're gonna see pages dedicated to that. You're gonna see pages dedicated to showing off this lifestyle, to debunking this lifestyle. Somehow it's getting the attention from media everywhere.
New social media trend, definitely not in the Christmas spirit. Super rich kids flaunting their wealth on Instagram.
Some of these kids now have hundreds of thousands of online followers.
When you get a lot of attention, it can be intoxicating.
The Rich Kids of Instagram is an account on Instagram that features all of these rich kids that like to post their lavish lifestyles, right?
Rich Kids of Instagram, a Tumblr of snot-nosed millionaires who post stuff like this.
They are willing to brag and show you everything they got. They have no shame.
In a sense, that's why I made the documentary, to get a reaction from people, whether it's people are interested in this, or maybe someone is mad at it and wants to click it to hit the dislike button. Whether it's I'm interested in seeing what they're gonna say. Are they gonna be stupid? Are they gonna be superficial? Are they gonna be blah blah blah? Whatever the case may be, it interests people at the end of the day.
My name is Claudia Shaka, I'm 21 and I live in Toronto, Ontario.
So my dad has always owned a concrete company with his family, so they do concrete trucks and stuff. And then in the most recent years, he opened up a cannabis grow-up in Las Vegas, Nevada. So he's been doing that for a couple years on top of the concrete business.
Hi, I'm Nadia Fuda. I'm 21 years old and I'm a criminology student at Western University. So my dad, he owns a construction company. They build commercial buildings such as hotels. Like they recently built the Marriott in Burlington. He also builds private schools such as Bishop Strachan, Royal St. George's.
Hey, my name's Liz Cruz and I'm 23. So both of my parents are entrepreneurs. My mom is a little bit more scattered out than my dad is. My mom has a fitness club and a healing facility, a bakery, a restaurant, and her major is accounting. So she has an accounting firm as well. And then my dad owns Blockwall, and they basically import stone, brick, block, anything to do like that. And they do commercial buildings and schools.
Jared Walsh. I'm 22 years old and I'm born and raised Toronto, Ontario.
My dad does stuff with the movie industry, so people call him to rent vehicles. So we tend to buy a lot of like used ambulances or police cars and whatnot. Be in the background of films. Or blown up even.
Cool.
Yeah. Our big business is with Budget Rental Car.
Yeah.
Fixing all their trucks and stuff.
Hi, I'm Chantal McGuire, and I live in Toronto. I'm a fashion design student at George Brown, and I'm 21. My daily schedule consists of not too much. Usually I'm just online shopping or I have class. If I'm not doing that, I'm at the mall wandering around looking for something to buy because it's the only thing I can kill my time with usually. So me and my mom, we own a salon in Summerhill on Yonge Street, and my dad, we like buy homes and we renovate and we kind of just like flip houses.
Hey there, I'm Tim Gonsley, I'm 21 years old and I live in Toronto, Ontario. Originally I'm from Venezuela though. I came here when I was 11 years old. And yeah, Toronto's been, home ever since. We own poultry farms in Venezuela. Basically chicken for like McDonald's, for grocery stores. We harvest them and we, keep them in companies and huge things. All humane. But yeah, that's what we do. And then we sell them off to grocery stores and restaurants and food. And we own that line.
So I got my car the first day that I got my license, so I was about 17. And my parents gave me this, it's a Range Rover Sport. So this is my favorite car ever, and yeah, it was a good way for me to be able to drive like to school and back because I went to high school 40 minutes away from me.
People are shocked when they hear that I drive a G63.
First car when I turned 16, which was a BMW. And it's easier with my dad having like a car business, so it's kind of easy for us to get cars, or it's more accessible. I'd say we switch cars more often than a normal family does, but again, probably more relating to my dad's business. It's kind of easy for us to switch in and out of new vehicles more often than other people.
Yeah.
I live just north of Toronto, so I'm sitting on 20 acres of land, completely surrounded by forest. On the property we have a tennis court, a pool, a rec room with a pool table and a Tony table. We have ATVs on the property, we have an ATV track, a hiking trail, we have a pond, a little stream and a little river, and we have a trampoline in the summer. One year we decided that we were gonna do some work to the pool, the lining was gonna be changed and all this stuff, so our pool was closed all summer, and I've never wanted to swim so bad in my life, where every other summer we're probably there like maybe twice, if we're lucky.
So about the rich kids on Instagram, I think people are so obsessed with it because it's inspiring, it's something that people want and they crave, and constantly seeing it on social media makes them want to work for it. Honestly, I think that's the only way it could be such a big fad, otherwise I don't understand it.
So in summer we went to a cottage with one of my friend's stepdads, his cottage, and we took a helicopter, right? And just, I don't know, they didn't want to drive and they were in a hurry and they were like, yeah, like we're taking the chopper, like are you down? I was like, yeah, like sure. Things like this, I Snapchat, I post a picture, or it's something, because we're 21st century kids, it's a day for us, it's not a big deal, it's just like, oh, like, look, this is how we're getting from point A to point B. So anyways, I post that and I get, messages and, comments and, oh, luxury this, blah, 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 that, you know what I mean? But for us, it's simply like just getting from point A to point B. I think when you have money, or you're born in a family of money, it's not a big deal to you. When you see luxury, you're like, oh yeah, like, cool. You don't see it as something because you're used to it. You just see it as, oh, nice house, that's a roof over your head. It's that simple. That, luxurious car is simply a car. Often, on Instagram, on social media, on, taking a picture and showcasing a bit of my life. I'll take a picture of, you know, my bathroom, I'll take a picture of, like, you know, my living room, and I post that, and all of a sudden it becomes this big huge thing. Oh my god, like, you know, Daily Mail gets a hold of the picture. Rich kid, blah blah blah, this bathroom, lavish this, the dogs, the blah blah, the bottles, you know, the bottle service, etc., the nice car, the cool pool, the blah blah blah. And it's, you know, for us it's like, honestly, it's just taking a picture of our lives. And I never even thought of it that way until social media. Until I would post a picture of, yes, my bathroom, and, you know, it was like, oh, what the hell, why is my picture now on 5 websites the next day? You know, why is my picture and my Instagram, my social media handles on 5 different, you know, websites, journals, and sort of articles and stuff?
Well, definitely, because when I post, I guess, on my Instagram, I do attract a lot of attention, like in terms of like DMs and stuff. It's definitely attracted a lot of attention. Just obviously the things that I show, it's gonna bring anyone attention like that.
So I think my Instagram consists of mostly my traveling photos, because those are my best memories, and I love to like show them off. But not in like an aggressive way. I like having amazing photos of myself. Is that so wrong? Like, I wouldn't say that I don't post in Toronto, I do. Mostly if I'm trying something new. Like, I want to share my experiences with everyone else. So I want to have that Instagram that people go to and they say, I want to go there. And kind of be an influencer for people looking for new things.
Okay, so in regards to social media, I'd say when I like first got it, more or less for Instagram, I was trying to maybe paint a picture to my friends or people that I was in high school with, because it's more of like a clique there. Like, there's more people judging you, I've kind of felt, so I kind of wanted to show the luxuries that I could afford, or kind of show off the lifestyle that I was living. However, now that I'm getting older, I'm kind of taking pictures more or less for myself, for like time capsules, so I can look back in 20 years and look back at the moments, and not as much as the luxuries, more or less the things that are going on, like the times that I want to capture, or friends that I want to be able to look back on and have a couple laughs with. I'd say now social media is more or less for me, as opposed to the outside world viewing it, in my mind.
When I get reposted on social media, I feel like it definitely gives me butterflies in my tummy. It's not because it gives me anything, it's fun. It's like people are actually recognizing like the effort, or like your style, or whatever it is that you're posting in that moment. And it's cool, like, to connect to people.
So about negative energy on Instagram, I don't care, because it doesn't bother me. It's their own decision to have something against me. I do care if I've done something to that person, or if there's a reason. Otherwise, other than that, I don't care what people think of me.
Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not the type of person to give a shit. It's not, like, negative views are negative views. You're gonna have it. Oh my god, for my birthday last year, my dad got me this ring that I'm wearing. He got me like a diamond bracelet, and he like literally just left money on the side table. And like he came to my room at like 7 a.m. He like tried to surprise me, which my dad never does. Like, even that gesture, like, I know I have a lot, but like, it was the point that he did that. Like, it was him that did it. It wasn't me asking for it. I posted it on social media, not because obviously I liked what I got. It's not the value of that. It was the gesture, and someone literally like hate mail in my DMs. Like you should be ashamed of yourself, selling your body. I'm like, that's my real dad. That's not like sugardaddy.com. Okay, like that's not okay. So I responded, and I was genuinely super sweet about it, because at the end of the day, people are gonna have their views about you, and most of the time they're reflecting about how they're feeling or their own insecurities or whatever. So when it comes to that, I don't care. What I care about is how I portray myself, because at the end of the day, there's certain things that I do have, I guess, not control over, but like how I can feel about myself at the end of the day. Like, my decisions have to make me happy. You know what I mean?
Well, I think those people who are telling us to be humble they're jealous, or they feel sad about it. They can't have what we have, and I understand that. And like sometimes, like maybe a kid will see it online and he'll go to his mom and say, why can't I have this? So those are the downfalls that I see for Instagram and advertising our lives, but it's how we live, and if we want to showcase it, it's up to us. And those kids, I feel they'll gain from it. It'll be something they want to work towards, and it motivates them to have this life.
And I thank God that I didn't have social media back when I was like, 10. I think I got Instagram for the first time when I was like 16 or 15. I was in grade 10. But thank God that, I have a thick skin, and more than anything, my parents raised me right. I think a lot of people and parents who don't know how to raise their kids, they worry about social media and what that's going to do to their, psyches, to their children's, ego, psyche, like psychologically. But that's, not our job to raise or to be role models. It's your job to raise your children. It's your job. If you are not a parent, and if you are a teenager or a young adult, it's your job to keep yourself happy. You know what I mean? So you shouldn't be seeing things that make you unhappy. You shouldn't be comparing yourself to us to, get validation or anything. But anyways, yeah, like I see these whack stories of like, oh my God, like these kids must be empty inside when they're partying, or like, oh, like, they don't like love themselves just because like, they're taking pictures and blah, blah, blah. And not gonna lie, it's really flattering. I love it. It's entertaining. I see it and I'm like, ooh, like I wonder what's next, you know what I mean? But other times I have realized with the making of the documentary, I actually started to search myself a little more, and I was like looking at all these like articles and like, in different countries and in different languages. It was like, this is why you shouldn't show off, blah, blah, blah. This is why you shouldn't do this, and you shouldn't be snobby, or like blah, 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 this and that. And it's interesting to see like the perspective of other people's opinions about somebody else's entirely different life.
Hi viewers, this is Nadia here. I'm currently on vacation, and I heard there was some technical difficulties with my footage, so I hope you guys don't mind too much. We still have the audio versions, so yeah, I couldn't film, but I'm in Florida. It's so nice and warm here. Here's the view. Here's my beach outfit, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. I think it's depending on the age group looking at it. I think that younger kids will probably look at them and want to be like them and think that they're so cool and think that they have it all and wish they had that life. But I feel like when you're older and wiser type of thing, you kind of look at that as, oh, they're flaunting their parents' money. It's not their money. It's not what they made. So I feel like to the public, there's different viewpoints that you could come with and different viewpoints that you can view them from. I think those viewpoints from the younger generation is positive, considering that they want to be like them. They think they're so cool, they think they're this and that. From the older generation, I feel like definitely negative, because I feel like they kind of look at them as, oh, they don't have to work, they don't have to do anything, like they just were born into a rich lifestyle, so that's the reason they made it. It's not even because of them, it's because of their parents. So I think it's depending from who you're viewing.
It just depends on who your audience is. Like if it's someone who is open-minded and praises success and is supportive, then obviously it's going to be a positive. If someone is in a dark space and doesn't see the light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing, then obviously it's going to be like in a negative light.
Oh my God, these kids are like horrible people. Oh my God, like, they shouldn't be showing their wealth. Oh, like this, interests me. Some viewer might be like, whoa, like, I just want to see like, a peek into the lifestyle and blah, blah, blah.
So my dad owns his own company, so I tend to work with him in summers when I'm not at school. It's kind of afforded me the luxury to kind of pick if I don't want to go to work certain days so I can travel, or he's a little bit more generous with me in terms of pay and this and that. So I guess I kind of get more benefits than most people with working for my father. He's a very hard worker, which I strive to be like one day, but he's worked very hard to where he is right now. His business is doing quite well at this time, so it's pretty cool to see, and I'm starting to learn year by year to hopefully take over his business one day and live the life that he's kind of built up for our family.
So my parents, they didn't grow up rich, you know. My dad grew up in the poorer side actually, and my mom, which is a middle class woman, but through hard work, you know, and schooling and dedication and, you know, tears and sweat, they were able to make their companies a reality, right? Venezuela went through a crisis and is going through a war right now, and our companies are not doing as well. Like, I mean, the chicken there are dead because there's a war going on in which you can't find medicine for humans. So obviously you're not going to find medicine for chicken. You can't find food for humans. You're not going to find food for livestock. So our companies are deteriorating there, and it's really sad. They're just chilling there, laying there, you know, and it's very like, you know, it's honestly, it's really like, it's a heartbreaking thing to see something that your family has built kind of just come to a halt because of, you know, a corrupt government. I was, you know, raised in a villa. I was raised in a mansion. Like in, you know, Venezuela, it's a lovely house, and we still have that house. It's a humongous house, but it's just chilling there, and it's just, you know, gaining dust. Although the cleaning lady still lives there, like, you know, our maids live there. But yeah, I was born in the nicest places and the nicest properties. We've rented here. We've never bought in Canada, but we've rented like the nicest places all the time because, you know, we came with a lot of money. Obviously now that's like depleted, and there's a whole war going on in our companies. Obviously they're dead, so we just work for a living like every other normal person until we either sell our house or sell our companies or sell something, right? It isn't a very uneasy feeling knowing that our net worth is in another country, knowing that our net worth is basically paralyzed, our funds are frozen because there's a whole war going on in a country that's corrupt, that the government is, you know, taking and, you know, doing whatever it wants with it. You know, our house in Venezuela, I mean, I would love to go and tour there show you guys, but obviously I can't, you know, like we can't even go to our home country, which is like, honestly, like a really, really sad and disturbing feeling, you know, somewhere where I lived for half of my life. I can't even visit right now because if you go there, you're probably gonna die. You're not gonna find food, you're gonna get shot. And so it's definitely like an uneasy feeling, but yeah, that's where, you know, we stand with our companies, with, you know, our properties there, you know, with our family there. So it's not all as easy and as amazing as it seems on social media just because somebody has a nice house, just because somebody goes, you know, just because somebody has nice dogs or like, oh, like a nice outfit or whatever. It doesn't mean that, oh, look, they must be swimming in cash. They must be whatever. Ooh, like you're not from here. You're, you know, an immigrant, or like, ooh, you're not from here. Like you're from another country, exotic. Like, whoa, like money from overseas, like blah, blah. It's not the case, you know, most of the times.
I do get a lot of compliments and I am recognized, I feel, from what I have. It does come with a lot of negatives. I remember my first car, I didn't even have a license yet, and I had a C350 waiting for me on my driveway, and people were like, yeah, like it must be nice to be like driving around with mommy and daddy's money, and like kind of trying to make me feel small. So I feel like in a way throughout my life, the one negative is that people have used my money as a negative. And again, my money, my parents' money. But at the end of the day, both of my parents came from nothing. So my dad has 5 siblings. They lived in a village in Portugal. I've been there many times. It's gorgeous, but it is a village. He wasn't able to go to school because his father gave him the option. Either he goes to school or he works. And obviously for him to go to school, he would have to study after midnight. So it was pretty serious. He didn't have the opportunities that we obviously have today. So my dad worked very hard, and he is the owner of his company. And it's a multi-million-dollar company. So obviously that's a huge come up.
So this lifestyle, tell me if you like it and how do you feel?
So I definitely love it. Nothing really, I would say, like other downsides about it, but I do feel very privileged and I'm really grateful for what I have, and I try not to take that for granted.
When I was young, my mom exposed me to a lot of third world countries. I've been to Africa a couple of times. We did a lot of fundraisers, donations there. We did like a lot of business with there. So I was aware of what was going on. So I was never the type of person, even when I was young, to like, you know, be extra until I probably turned 16. And my mom threw me a Super Sweet 16 at Casa Loma. And then I think I started to realize, like, okay. Obviously, I'm more fortunate than the average person. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like, but again, it's not something that I hold myself to a certain standard because of it. I feel like I connect with everyone just the same.
I went to a private school, so I feel like a majority of people there had money, so I feel like it was kind of just an unspoken rule that no one talked about it.
Probably the first time someone's ever said anything to me about me being more fortunate than someone else was in high school, where I started to be known as like, oh, like, I went to private school, so it wasn't something that, you know, I would think anyone else lacked, but I was definitely like, oh, like Liz Cruz, like the rich one, or like her house is massive and whatever, and I was like, how do you guys even know?
You know, I had this guy tell me once, I was showing him a video of a project that I did basically for my school, for my class, and I show him this and he's like, wow, like, that's your house? And I was like, yeah, like, cool. I was like, yeah, anyways, focus on the video. And then we're in the kitchen, he's like, oh my god, like, that's your kitchen? And I was like, yeah, like, literally, I was like, you can't really tell that it's, like, you know, part of the kitchen, it's just a very small part of it. He's like, oh my god, can you show me more? And I was like, yeah, for sure, later, let's just focus on the film, right? And little by little, I started to realize, like, why is this person so obsessed, right, with my kitchen, something that's where I just eat, you know? So I think a lot of the times, these nice things for us, which are, you know, we're born with it or we just live in it, is a big deal to other people. I met that person another time, he's like, you know, I knew you were wealthy, and I was like, why? He's like, because you talked about dogs, and, you know, dogs, you said it plural with an S, that means you have more, and you're, you know, young, and blah blah blah, and that's an expense, you know, that's hundreds of dollars a month, and etc. And I didn't even see it like that. I was like, oh my god, and it's true. I was like, whoa, like, that's actually like that's scary, you know what I mean, when you think about it, but that's the mentality other people have, you know, something that's so normal to you. And a lot of people have dogs, rich, poor, middle class, you know, dogs have dogs. So it's not a big deal, but I guess for certain people, they see little things like that. So these are my dogs. So this is Rocky in Spanish, say hi to the camera. This is Bianca. This is Bianca, the wife. She's 4, I believe. Maltese, purebred. And this is Toby. Toby's the puppy. He's like the son of these two. She only had one. And he's 5 months old. Oh, say hi. Look at Toby. He's so scared.
So I have 5 dogs. These are 3. I have 3 inside and 2 outside. This is Hugo. Hi. He likes the salsa. Huh? This one's Chloe and this one's Coco. So this one's Littlest Nugget and this one's Little Nugget. He is a Bengal. Bengals range anywhere between $1,000 and $2,000. He's a super rare breed. He'll be a year in August.
Hi everybody, look at me. He's like, oh, is he trying to get away?
He loves me, can you tell? So these are my dogs. This is Biggie, he's a boxer, he's 5 years old. And then, this is my other dog. This is Benjamin. He's a Dachshund and we got him last year, so he's about a year old. We've always had dogs growing up, always 2 at a time basically. So they just give us that company and love, so we love them. So I ran into an old friend from school. We were talking about just like petty old drama, and he brought up a good point. He was like, but why are you looking within you? Like, don't you see that people are jealous of you? Don't you see that like obviously the things that you have or what you're exposed to provokes like a certain level of a reaction from people? And I was like, huh.
Yeah, like I believe that I'm really lucky to have what I have. I'm really grateful and I respect everyone who's given me what I have, and I love my family for providing this for me, and I know they worked hard towards it. It's not something that was just given to them either. They worked for it, so I'm really lucky.
I couldn't say I'd want to trade it for anything else. I think I'm quite fortunate. I think it's kind of given me the drive though to want to be able to sustain this lifestyle and be able to afford the luxuries my parents have kind of been able to grant me or give me, if you want to say. Because I do work for my father, so I do pay for the trips that I go on. But they might view it as me just some kid that gets checks from his dad and gets to live a good lifestyle, which is true in some sense, but it's also earned in another sense.
I think some people do treat me differently. I feel like, for example, you walk into a store and if I'm dressed up all in designer, they're gonna come at you. If you're not, they don't give you attention. It's sort of the same reaction. Like, people are attracted to people who look good.
I've never had to struggle. Like, again, there's limitations in life for anything. I've never had to struggle for anything though. Like, at the same time, my parents never just had the doors wide open for me, like head dive in. Obviously I had limitations too, but it was just, it is what it is. But most of the time, honestly, okay, since I was young, I've low-key always had a credit card. So if there was something that, let's say, my friends couldn't do, or if there was something that they wanted and they couldn't have, I'm gonna be honest with you, I used to buckle down and just get it, or like take the bullet. Even as far back as high school, people used to come for me all the time for like $2 for like hot lunch, or like $3 for hot lunch. I was in like grade 5, and like all these bitches have money.
Am I lucky enough than others? I would say that I'm lucky in the sense that I have places in Italy and Greece where a lot of my family lives, so that kind of gives me the opportunity to travel there more. I feel like that gives me more opportunity to see the world and see different types of cultures and stuff, so I would say based on that perspective, yes I am. Some of my friends obviously come from similar lifestyles as me, and I'll get other friends, like third-party friends, asking, oh, how does blank and blank afford this lifestyle? How, wow, are they rich? Wow, are they this? And it's, for me, as being a friend, I don't really look at it in that terms. I don't look at it as, wow, my friend's super rich and blah, blah, blah. I look at it more in a sense where it's just my friend, like, oh, okay, if they're well off, it's something that I don't really notice or look at my friends, but I guess that other people around me do, and they're kind of be like, wow, I can't believe like they can like afford this lifestyle or do all this stuff.
So I guess obviously in Canada, hockey is kind of like our national sport, or one of the main things that most young men strive to play. However, it's kind of not the cheapest sport to play, with the prices just to pay and all the equipment. So I was fortunate enough to be able to play and achieve somewhat of a high level, being able to play in the OHL. But obviously could not have done any of it without my parents or their backing and driving me and flying me to certain camps and this and that. I see it as a big point in my life. It kind of developed me into a man, having to do interviews when you're 15 years old and dealing with scouting and all the pressures of the hockey environment.
So me and my family love traveling. We travel about 5 to 6 times a year. Our favorite place is definitely LA. We do that every single year since I was a baby. But now we've been liking places in Europe, definitely. So I love traveling to Europe and just like cool different places like Dubai and Japan.
Okay, so, well, my family, we just enjoy to travel. We love to see new things. Like, the most recent place I went to was Miami, but it's more like we get bored, we want to go somewhere else, just pick a place and I'm out of here. You know, I grew up in the Bahamas from a childhood, so I go there at least 4 to 5 times a year. It's like home to me, it's not different. I probably know it better than I know Toronto. I don't know, I just love to travel, I love to see new things. Like, there's so many more places on my bucket list that I'd love to see.
So traveling, it's funny how I traveled the world when I was little. I don't travel as much anymore because of obviously, like, you know, we're from a different country. I feel like I am on vacation right now, low-key. But, you know, I used to travel way more when I was a kid. So I saw the world when I was little. And I mean, I think it's interesting that, like, I saw half of the world when I was little, but I don't remember much of it. I mean, I was like 7 or 6, you know, like 8, 9, going to Argentina, going to Europe, going to, you know, North America, Canada, going to like so many places. The only continent I have not visited is Australia and Asia. Anyways, also, and Antarctica. Anyways, so I remember we were on a, you know, this is a story my parents often tell. We were in a 747 going to France, Paris, I believe. And we were first class, and it was like a different floor, and the only people that were there was my family, us, me being like a, I don't know, 8-year-old child, and my brother, my parents, and a CEO of some company, like a Fortune 500 CEO. I remember, like, my mom told me what company it was, but I don't remember exactly which one it is, but it was a big one. And, you know, the air, like, waitresses people, the stewardess, air waitresses, what? They were like, oh, you know, you guys are very, very lucky, like, remember that, you know, in a nice way, obviously. But my parents tell me that all the time, and as a child, that doesn't register. You're like, yeah, like, you know, we're going, like, on a trip, or like, I was like, huh, why do they tell me that? Obviously, I realize now, you know, that's a really expensive, you know, ticket. I think growing up, and especially, like, you know, in this rich kids of Instagram society, and like just, you know, of a wealthy society, you definitely take things for granted that you realize later in life, maybe I shouldn't have. And maybe not that you shouldn't have, but you definitely take things for granted in life, because you realize when you grow older, like, wow, not everyone is as lucky as me, or has that luck.
We mostly do Europe. We've done Spain, France, Italy, Greece. We've done some places in the States, such as Florida, California. We've been to a bunch of times, and yeah.
So I've been traveling since I was literally in the womb. My mom, actually the first time my mom traveled with me, she was pregnant, and there was like a tornado following her in an airplane, and on that same trip there was a hurricane. So yeah, so I've been traveling my whole life. In elementary school, people used to give me shit all the time because I was literally 2 weeks in school, 1 week off. Same thing in high school, I was always traveling. And then now, it's no surprise that I'm still traveling. I feel like a really big thing that people are like, not shocked about, but like taken back is travel. I feel like a lot of the times I won't even tell people that I'm going anywhere because I feel uncomfortable telling them because I know how they're gonna react. It's like another one where you get those like stupid comments and it's like, you're kind of making me feel bad about it. Like, I don't want to tell you that I'm going away. My favorite place I think I've ever been to island-wise is probably St. Lucia. St. Lucia, I think it was just the resort. It was gorgeous, gorgeous. We had like a butler that literally followed me around all day, giving me my every need, you know. Last year was a good record. I think I hit like 13. I'm gonna be honest, 13 trips.
I grew up literally with these humongous paintings that are not just paintings, they're actually important, you know, historical paintings from really important people. And that's just something that I've grown up with. It was like pretty, you know, in my house. My background for pictures, for, you know, friends' pictures, they're like, oh yeah, cool painting. But, you know, in doing so, for example, I recently asked, I was like, oh mom, like, you know, tell me a little bit about these paintings and stuff. And little did I know is that this one right here is Matteo Manaure, which is one of Picasso's like students or something. So what the hell? The average family doesn't have this, you know? They don't spend $20,000 for a painting. They don't spend, you know, $40,000, $50,000 for a painting when that could be literally a mortgage or that could be literally a car, you know? But we do, and definitely I do think that it has, you know, been kind of a pinnacle of, you know, my life, seeing this art, seeing, you know, I don't know, these things like that are around my house that are very nice and artsy. Also, they're shown off in social media. People take note to it. They're like, damn, like that's a really nice, you know, frame. That's a really nice door. That's a really nice something. Like,
usually at night, I will head to a lounge. I'll start there, meet some girlfriends, have them all come over. We'll gossip, you know, talk, hang out, catch up. And then we'll hit up a club. We'll see who has a table or if we can get a table for that night. And we'll just have fun and enjoy ourselves and try to make it the most elaborate night of our lives, because every night should be a great night. But I go to a club and spend $700 for the experience, the party, the lights, the bottle girls to bring me some cool drinks and mix it for me. It's just about the hospitality of it, I guess.
Oh yeah, another thing I do on my free time a lot, especially because I'm 21 obviously, is I party with my friends. I definitely enjoy the Toronto nightlife. The nightlife here is insane. There's always parties and like cool clubs, so I'm kind of always doing that with my friends.
Welcome to my party.
Your 22nd birthday, big day. You know. We have literally every kind of prettiest part. Happy birthday, everybody.
Nothing in this world, I like more than checks.
Claudia's a baby thing.
Always love you.
So going out and going to the clubs is a big thing that I do. I'm known as a party kid. I think culturally, we're from South America, so drinking and, you know, alcohol at a young age is a very like normal thing, and it's something I grew up with. So I grew up in, you know, with parents who loved to dance, who always had, you know, parties, who always had like people over. We used to throw these massive parties at our house. I mean, like with tents and with servers, and it was insane, and that's what I grew up with. So like, not gonna lie, like we get a lot of bottles on, you know, bottles and booths and you know, sparkling lights and flashing lights and more booths. And you know, us being 21st century kids, obviously we Snapchat everything, you know, we take a picture of everything and we like to post. Whether you do it and you have a private account just for you and your friends and family, or just you and your friends, whether you do it for the public, right? We are born, you know, in a day and age of technology, of having a really good camera on our smartphone, for example. So that's something that we take advantage of. And I think on social media and on, you know, media itself, they see that as a negative thing, being like, oh damn, they're just trying to show their lives off like to the limit and blah blah blah. And sure, maybe we are, but I'm just trying to, you know, live my life and trying to be happy. Literally, I'm like, whoa, like this is pretty, like, oh my god, the lights, the sparkling, yes, like look at the, you know, the outfits, like, oh my god, yeah, like, you know, trying to like hype my friends up, like, but a lot of the times this seems like a negative thing, a negative connotation, like, oh, rich kids of Instagram are like dead inside, they only party and they only party and party and party, and they do like crazy drugs and they're overdosing.
This is Samuel's birthday, and he is. Happy birthday, Samuel. I love you. 19th birthday, big day. Happy birthday, Samuel.
Hi.
The star, the B-Day boy. Did it, Sam? Happy birthday, Sam. Hey. B-Day, turn up, yeah.
Obviously, Toronto clubs are very expensive. They're very cost about $1,000 to get a booth at any like normal Toronto club.
Sometimes when you have connections, when you have, you know, a lot of connections and you've grown up in the city, a lot of the time it's like, yeah, like, you know, there's a birthday one week and a birthday the next, and then someone tells you, hey, like, I know the owner of this club, like, you know, and you end up getting in for free, or I know the promoter, or you are a promoter, you know, and you end up having a booth and bottles and $1,000 or $2,000 or $4,000 night for free, basically, you know. But for some reason, for rich people, that's glorified and seen as, oh, they're partying, they must be, you know, in the wrong. They're partying, they must be on drugs. They're partying, they must be empty inside. They're partying, their parents are not there. They're partying, their, you know, families don't care. No. Our families are partying with us at the pre, and they're going to their party, you know what I mean? And if they're partying just a few bottles of wine, you know, mom and dad, like, drinking to go see a movie, like, in their living room, that's fine while the kids go to the club, and then we come back and, you know, that's that.
I'd say I'm like tapering a bit off from the party scene, but I used to do it quite a bit, more or less because of the luxury that we had, which being connections and obviously the financial backing, because it's not cheap to go out in Toronto. So the ability to know that you could go out and spend a couple $100s and have a good night is always enticing. I'd say I had some really fun nights with friends. Looking back at it, I probably spent a little bit too much money. Like, I got into raves pretty early on. I was always, I guess when you play hockey, there's always like EDM music being played in the background, so I kind of grew a taste for it. So I think my first rave was Digital Dreams when I was like 15, and it kind of just opened my mind to this whole other world of like concerts and all these different things that you could attend within the city. And then once I went to the one, I started looking and I realized like how much actually goes on within Toronto, and there's like every weekend in the summer there's some like festival you can attend.
So basically just in the summers, because it gets obviously cold here in Toronto, so in the summers me and my sister like to throw like huge pool parties in my backyard. So we have a pool area and a little chilling area so everyone could just like drink and party and be in their bikinis and just have a good time. So we like to throw that a couple times every summer.
So some people think that you buy purses because it's the trend of this year and trying to show off, but I've been into this lifestyle since I was a child, born into it, and I've always had Louis Vuitton and Chanel, and I didn't see them as something like a luxury. I just saw something that I have. I've lived with it, I grew up with it. So like this bag over here was my first ever Louis Vuitton bag. I was 8 years old when I got this in Ireland. My first ever bag, and I love it. Actually, this isn't my first bag. This is my first, like...
Louis bag?
No, yeah. This is my first bag, actually.
When you were 4?
When I was like 4 Yeah, this is my second. So every designer bag is sort of like an investment to your grandchildren or my daughter or my daughter's daughter's daughter. It's like an heirloom. It's gonna be passed on, and this was passed on to me from my mom. My dad bought it for her, like I think when they were first engaged, like their first year maybe of being together. I don't remember exactly. And I know what you guys are thinking, it's a $20,000 bag, but it's gonna be in our lives forever, so it's an investment if you think about it. And the value of this bag will constantly go up, and people actually are on a waiting list up to 5 years to get this bag. So you wanna come see my closet? Let's go. It doesn't just end here. Welcome. Well, when we bought this house, this was like really just ghetto. It was like wood and nothing, and I chose this room first, and I was like, I went upstairs. I didn't even know there was a closet when we bought the house, and I was like, Dad, this has to be my closet, because nothing would fit down there. Like, do you see the clothes I have? It was not enough room for me. So we eventually renovated this and made it my closet, and I put a lot of my storage also because it's such a big space, and I needed more space. It was just the best thing to do.
So this is my closet. Favorite bag? Right now, to be honest with you, probably my Chanel, because like it's pink and it's cute.
Where is it down?
Yeah. But it's not to say that it's the value that makes it my favorite. It's just like it's such a fucking cute bag. So funny story. This necklace is like a runway piece. It's from Spain. My mom got it while she was doing a business trip there, and it's just gorgeous. It's pearls. It's really pretty. The funny part about it is that I tried to return it, but at the time I got it probably 4 years ago. At the time I really wanted a boy, and my mom had a mission to get me a boy bag.
Oh, I was like a boy. There's plenty of boys in Canada.
Yeah, Mom, buy me a boy. Yeah. So I tried to return it. They said no, that I'd be crazy, but I really wanted a boy. The boy was where my heart was set. It didn't work out, but could you imagine?
I mean, at the end of the day, we're just simply lucky. I mean, lucky to be born in a family of wealth, lucky to have wealth, to have it for a bit, to God knows what. And I mean, I feel like if people are mad at it, and if they're mad at us flaunting it, if they're mad at us worshipping it, if they're mad at us just, you know, being happy with their lives, then there's not much we can do about it. And I mean, I'm definitely going to take advantage of every second I can of it.